Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill. How are you today?
I'm good, man. It's first day of school, so
Okay.
kiddo's a little bit nervous, so dealing with all of that and Monday and everything, man. How are you?
Good. So was there a drop off or was it a virtual thing or what?
She's not even awake yet. So the school that she's going to is doing this kind of like asynchronous learning thing, which I think is pretty awesome. So they've got like morning sessions and they've also got evening Zoom sessions. So whatever you need, you just hop in there and you get help on the things you need. Pretty blown away by like the school and what they've been able to do in a pretty short period of time.
Cool.
So I'm excited.
Very nice. Love it.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was relaxing. Didn't do a whole lot. Um, yeah, it's kind of one of those weekends. I mean, obviously ran errands and did different things with the church, still things, but
Mm-hmm.
not otherwise. No, not didn't do a whole lot.
Man, I'm writing that today is the 31st, and I'm feeling a little bit wonky about it. Last
Yeah,
day of August, man.
yeah. I titled our feed today 30 days. 30 days left.
Yeah,
And let's talk about what you want to say about yourself on September 30th.
yeah.
So it's I did have a little bit of more Mike. How's it going, man? I did have a little
Something
bit
like,
of what am I not focusing on type of thoughts this weekend. Like what am I missing? Like what are the things I wish I was focusing on more than I'm not? And just trying to
mm-hmm.
compare myself in those areas. And it's
How
not a
do you,
lack of focus. It's probably a lack of how do I what?
hmm?
You're
Well,
about to
lack
say
of
how do
what?
I?
Well, I mean, so when you think back to the guy who came over like right around the beginning of July, and we were sitting down, kind of putting our plan out,
Hmm.
thinking about like that guy versus where you are now. Are you happy with the progress that you've made?
Yes.
I am as well.
Well, thanks.
uh, I mean, for both of us, I think we both have done fairly good jobs of getting some big stuff done and holding ourselves accountable. I'm curious to see what's going to happen at the end of next month whenever we go through that process again and reset out new
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, end of August, which is a little bit weird. Like, yeah, very weird.
Tal says things are going well for him.
Good,
So, what do you mean
good.
by that? Tell us, Mike. What do you mean by going well? Because
Yeah.
I don't think I know what any of your goals are. So, let us know.
What do you got this week, Bill? Because we were kind of like hurrying and needed to get off and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
we talked about kind of recircling on our build
Yeah.
bets this week.
Yeah. So, and actually, let's see. We wrote them down. Let's go back to that to start. So, mine was 10 cold outreaches per day because I have a new list for that. Um, 3 days of 100%. On nutrition. And
Mm,
then 3 days of book study with Jackson. So
nice.
that's the three that I had down. The big three for me this week, though, are obviously that's my bill bets. I also have a big organizational project I'm working on for somebody. I'm supposed to have done this week. I am hot on the trail for podcast guests for Clarity and Purpose, and then my bill bets are kind of my big three.
Okay, cool. Um, I said last week that I needed to ask 100 people to come to Sales Lab. So
Mm-hmm. You did.
that's going to be that's going to be a good big goal because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
wired for that. I also have in here 3 hours into systems, and then I
Automation.
can't read
That's what I wrote.
systems automation. That's right. That's right. Yes. So I'm going to be going over this with my team, looking at some opportunities of tightening things up. And then with this being kind of like a first week of new school for Alice, the family thing is just like making sure I'm a little bit more present, like later on in the afternoons and the early evenings to keep her engaged and feeling solid about it and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. So the question that comes to my mind when you say that is why wouldn't you be that all year? I mean, I know you are, but
Well, fair. Because we all get bogged down in our own stuff, right? So like, like I think I do a pretty good job at checking on her on a regular day, but I just want to make sure with it being like new school and
Right.
like her school gave her a Chromebook, and so like she has like an email address, which seems weird, and all of this stuff, and Google Classroom is a pretty cool like setup and everything else like this, but it's like a big change. So I just want to make sure she's
Yeah.
talking through it and not getting hung up on stuff and things like that. So
Yeah. High touch.
exactly, yeah, high touch for
Yeah.
sure.
Cool. That's good.
Melissa read the manifesto and came in and gave me a kiss and said, "Hey, like this is actually a book. Congratulations!" Uh, so that felt redeeming and awesome and valuable. And then I was having a chat on Friday with this person who is also really into sales, and they focus on the appointment setting side of things. We're talking just about some struggles of the mental stuff, and they came back the next day and said, "Hey, like thanks for this. How do you deal with this stuff?" And I said, "Journaling." And they're like, "Well, can you give me some details?" So like I gave them an overview, and then I said, "If you'd like, I'm going to sit down here in a little bit to work on my own stuff. If you'd like, I can nudge you." And they were like, "Yeah, that would be totally awesome. That'd be great." So Friday night at about I guess about 9:30 or 10 or something like this, I sat down to do my journaling and took a picture and sent it to them. And I was like, "Wait, I'm just gonna do this, right?" Because like Jocko gets up every morning and takes his picture of his watch at like 4:15 a.m. and he's getting after it, and that's all well and good. But there's a verbal version of that, and I think that's kind of the thing that I'm working on. So I'm going to be just holding myself accountable.
So Jocko has a verbal version of that?
Now he's got a physical version of this, right?
Okay.
I mean, he's up at like 4:45 every morning,
Right.
crushing his workout.
Right.
Uh, I'm waking up early, but I'm focused on the mental stuff. So
Gotcha. Okay.
just to start posting about it. 100 days of journaling.
Yep. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. We watched those videos. Thank you very much. Those are awesome. Yeah, man. What are you worried about this week, if anything?
Well, anytime I'm going full into cold outreach, I'm always worried I'm going to come off douchey or come across salesy. I guess that's always the. Oh, and before I forget, I haven't taken the DISC assessment in a long time, and I kept saying that I was this much I, and pretty much 50-50 D and I. I am D and I, but I'm more D than I now. Because when I took it 15 years ago, I was just like 52% I and 49% D or something. Mm-hmm. I'm now like 60 D and 40 I.
Yeah.
So you called it.
I mean, it's kind of what happens, right? When you're constantly put in situations where you have to make decisions, then what happens is you start to expand your comfort zone over into that D state of mind, right? Like making quick decisions, being less reliant on others, and focus on like winning and goal orientation. You just have to be when you're in a position of authority or when you're running your own thing and stuff like this. So that I'm not surprised. Like that sounds fairly regular. I would be curious 2 years into doing this because I took a DISC assessment about last year, I would say, and it shifted more towards the D side. I'm curious if that has shifted more, but that's the thing that I like so much about all this is that it's not this like you're stuck here. No matter what, you're always going to be limited to these options and stuff like this. You can build it out so that way it's not something that you're confined by. It's something you can work on and work towards. It's just like working out, right? I want to go lift twice my body weight. Okay, cool. You don't start there, right? You start off with like other stuff. You got to do mobility work and everything else like this. So same thing happens with the personality stuff.
Yeah, DISC for sure. I know some of them are more concrete than others, just depending on who you take. Because they're different views of personality. That's for me, because I geek out on that stuff, and so for most people, I don't think most people know that those personality tests are not all the same. They're very much based on different views of data.
Yeah, for sure, right? And they've all got their own metrics, and that's why I recommend to everybody take every one you possibly can, right? I mean, I learn a little bit more about myself with like each one of these things that I do, right? And some of them I think are easier to use and to be thoughtful of than others. Like Jake really likes strength finders, right? I've heard him call out his strengths in conversations and stuff, and that's just a level of language that I haven't put the time into. So while I got value out of it, it's not the thing that I hang out in, right? So then if someone comes up and they're like, I'm an innovator trust person, I'm like, I don't know what those things are,
Right.
and then I still have to go through my process of figuring out, are you task driven or um, people driven, and are you gut driven or fact driven, and then I can figure it out my way. So
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Well, so back to your question. Yeah, that's the is I've got. It's interesting. You've talked about this some a little bit, and I'm thinking of what you're talking about. There's a set number of leads that you have, and you feel like you have to land those leads because that's all you've
mhm.
got, right? It's kind of the same idea when you go out and pull a very specific list of types of organizations and the people you want to talk to them. It feels higher pressure when you're talking to those types of people because you're like, I know I want to work with this type of person.
Yeah,
I think at least until I actually have a conversation. I was just working through some of that mentally this weekend. Going, they're like anybody else. Just reach out the way you would reach out, and be strategic, but don't
yeah,
think too much about it.
yeah. I agree completely. I was walking this morning and kind of had this moment of like, I don't really know what I'm thinking about this week, because like I'm trying to have a little bit of purpose and a little bit of like, okay, like I want to put some specific focus into like this thing or that thing, and like I didn't really have one, and I was kind of feeling down in the dumps about it, and then I don't know what happened, but like all of a sudden I just got like really happy. I was like, oh, this means I have time to go do stuff that I'm not normally doing in my business, and there. I mean, you gotta, as hard as this is, kind of keep your head on a swivel and looking in all directions. And I'm not always the best at that. So by not having like a really huge project that I have to get done this week, the goal is to put more time into the smaller projects that sometimes escape notice.
Hmm. Yeah, I actually also something else I did this weekend. Now that I'm thinking about it, is I don't always, in fact, often I don't lay out my entire week on my my calendar, like my
Mm.
daily planner. I lay out the big three, and if I have like some really major stuff going on, I'll go drop it in. But like, when I have a setup for my day, it's there's all this stuff that goes up and down. Well, I did that for the first 3 days of my week, based on what I want to accomplish this week.
Mm.
And I also had kind of one of those moments of where I feel really good about where my time's going to be spent this week because I know, and it came out of I'm coaching somebody around time management and productivity who's kind of a new business owner. And this was the thing we were talking about. I was talking about the 12-week year. I was like, what's your goal? I mean, where are you even heading towards? And what are the major milestones in the 12 weeks? And you got to put them in your planner. Otherwise, how do you know that you're on pace? Or, how do you know that every week to work on the right thing? Because, it's important to keep focused like that. And it made me rethink how I was using my planner this much.
Yeah.
But it made me feel good to go, I don't have to worry about Monday through Wednesday. It's done. I know what I'm going to be doing. It's written down.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. It's the how do you keep it focused in front of you, right? Like and that system's going to be different for everybody on the planet. That's totally okay. But last night we were going through, we've got this huge shelf of DVDs, and like you've seen it. I mean, it's chock
Yeah.
full. There's stuff behind it, and we've had it for forever. And so Melissa was like, well, do you think we should scale down some of this? I said, well, maybe, but what do you want to get rid of? And we have a lot of movies that it's like, okay, we bought this, but we haven't watched it in years, so let's watch it one more time and then make a decision, right? And we've had the same conversation probably 15 times over the past,
Hmm.
2 years. And so I was like, look, start pulling those movies out and put them on a stack, like right here next to the TVs. That way, as we're like, what are we going to watch? What's that stack? Oh, these are the movies we need to watch again, as opposed to leaving them all over here, like nice and organized and out of view.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Got to keep it
whatever
in
keeps
front
it
of
in
you.
front of you,
Hmm.
yeah, like to-do list, your goals app, whatever version of this like that it looks like, but it has to stay in front of you because we're just our attention is just so focused and pulled in multiple directions
Yep, all the time, all the time. And
all
actually,
the, all the
the
time.
Daywise app on the phone has become paid um, because
It has that.
yeah, because they're struggling, and there's a note in there that says, "Hey, we can't figure out any other way to do this but to start charging for this thing
Huh.
because they don't want to do advertising." So I found another one that isn't quite the same, but I like the way that they handle notifications.
Well,
So
what's what's really funny to me was because I was looking at the DayWise app over this weekend as well. Because like I was like, okay, like is there more to this or not? And then I started playing around in my settings, and now Google has it built into the Pixel, right? Into your digital well-being, there's a thing in there called focus mode, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I just found this over the weekend, and I
That's
think it
true.
does essentially the same thing
It does. You're
as
right. I
DayWise.
totally forgot about that. It's already on the phone.
So yeah, but keep it. And what's crazy is somebody was like, well, how are we going to chat? What number do I call you at? And I was like, well, I'm going to call you if you don't want to do a Zoom, because if you try to call me, you're going to get filtered. And it's kind of monotonous having that same conversation with people over and over. Yeah, you might get filtered. Let me handle the outreach, towards you and everything. And I've got a client who loves to text message me like, "Hey man, like, when are we catching up this week?" Well, it's on the calendar, right? So like, I need your help, because I live out of my calendar. If you're not living out of your calendar, it's gonna be difficult for us to be on the same page. How do we fix that,
Right.
kind of thing? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm fired up about this week just because I think I've got a lot of stuff to like play with, which is not normal.
What's the one today you're going to start with?
Community.
Okay.
Yeah, the text message thing, because man,
Okay.
I'm still so jacked about it, and I need to go put the number everywhere on like all of our stuff, and so that way we can start doing. Because man, I just think I think this is going to be the thing. I think I get to be on like the very early like kind of end of this thing in some ways, and use my powers for good.
That's right. Yeah.
But like
Exactly.
I was walking this morning and I was just like thinking about things about like, man, it's Monday. Like what kind of stuff would I be sending out if I already had the audience like engaged on this thing, right? It would be like, hey, look, it's Monday. Like, what do you need to be? It'd be the stuff that we're talking about here, right? So I think I could do kind of like a group version of BIL via like this cool app and text message system. Like, hey, like, what do you need to work on today? What's your big three? So I think it's gonna be the next big, or, it's probably already a big thing, and everyone's old and don't know it. But I think that this is gonna be like the next version of like email. So
Cool. Well, and especially with
open
RCS coming down here pretty soon, instead of
yes,
SMS, it'll make that whole Android Apple crossover a whole lot easier from that standpoint.
yes,
So
absolutely
yeah, makes sense. Cool. Well,
cool.
that's all I got. I got a couple of calls with potential clients today too, that reached out to me, so that's nice.
Oh yeah,
But otherwise, that's pretty much hitting my big three.
I have a call with a person who is a consultant and did the author thing. So they wrote a book, and we're talking about their process and results and stuff like this. I've got two coaching calls, and then I've got a check-in call with the person that I live built the CRM for last week. So
Okay. Okay.
I've got some stuff that this afternoon, but this morning I'm going to be playing around and messing with some stuff.
Cool. Well, y'all enjoy the last day of August.
Yes, absolutely.
We will see you in September, as my dad used to say. The day before the next, or the day before the year, the day before the month, didn't matter. It was his joke all the time.
I love it. I love that so much.
See you in September.
Nothing like a good old consistent dad joke,
Yep, lives on. There you go, Dad.
Awesome, man.
All right.
Well, I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Bill.
All
See
right,
y'all.
cheers, Bill.